Good day, everyone. So while we use Thai to wait for others, in a way, we're going to start the class by 7:10. Let me quickly remind us of our rules. In no case should you unmute your mic unless you have been told so. If you want to come attention to anything, just try and raise up your hand. In your Google Meet application, you will see something like a hand there. You can always use that. And should the case I get carried away and I'm not seeing you raising your hand, then you can decide to probably use the message box, or then you can decide to unmute and call my attention to it. So at any point in time you need something, not because you were not listening. That's another thing. You have to pay attention to everything I have to say because this is virtual class, so it's easy for you to get distracted. So I would advise you avoid all form of distraction right now. But if there's anything I try to explain and you don't get, try and call my attention to it as soon as possible. Although the video is always will be made available for us. I'm sure we were able to get last week's video and all. So the video is always available for us after the class. So in case you don't want to speak up in class, you can always check the video later on. But we advise if there's anything you don't understand, you try and let me know. So before we start the class, do we understand what I said? In case you want to ask any question based on what I said, or you're confused in any way, you can either drop it in the chat box or you raise up your hand so you can speak up now. Okay, I think I have one hand raised. Or was that a mistake? Mary, you want to say something? Mary, do you want to say something?
Oh no, sorry, I was just testing it to see if it.
Oh, I see. I can see a lot of people have been testing if I could see it. All right.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. All right. That means we understood what I said. Thank you so much. Okay. So last week we discussed about data analytics, what it actually means to be a data analyst. We discussed about that. The types of analytics, the examples of data analytics. We were able to differentiate between data analysis and data analytics because oftentimes people get to mix them together and they don't know the difference. So very quickly, I just need one person who can quickly differentiate between data analysis and data analytics. Anybody? Is it that you want to drop it in the chat box or you want to speak up? Very quickly, very quickly. I don't want to call names, so kindly volunteer now before I call names. This is going to help us with that. Just differentiate between data analysis and data analytics. I told us something last week that it's very essential. We go through everything we do in class. So I actually assume, or I believe we all went through what we did last week. And if that's the case, all hands should be raised right now. Eager to answer my question. So we can quickly differentiate between data analysis and data analytics. And we can give examples of data analytics and the types of data analytics that we have. Okay, Oluwadamilola, can we have you?
Good evening,
Good evening.
Yeah, according to your question,
Okay.
data analysis, to me, to my understanding, is a process of collecting data. You process it, you analyze it, analyzing of data that you have collected. Why data analytics is when you give a decision about the data you have put together and you have processed.
Yes,
as
that's all right.
giving a
That
particular giving a
okay.
particular conclusion to the data you have collected and you have processed. That's data analytics. And
All right. Okay.
talking about the examples of data analytics, you have business analytics, risk analysis, fraud, X, and web. And talking about the types, you have descriptive, predictive, pre- prescriptive, and diagnostics. Those are the four types of data analytics that we have. So
All
that's
right.
what I can say for now.
Okay. Thank you so much, Oluwadamilola. That's he got everything absolutely right. So that's like the summary of what we did last week. So should in case you were not around, that's just it. Although we won't be able to go much into it, you can always watch the video for last week to know more about it. So thank you so much, Oluwadamilola. All right, so let's go to what we have for today. Um, so last week I told others that we're going to be making use of 4 different softwares. Three for visualization tools. We have Power BI, we have Tableau, we have Microsoft Excel, and for the programming part, we have the SQL. So I thought I was going to be starting with the Excel, followed by Power BI, followed by Tableau, and lastly the programming part of it. So today we'll be diving into Excel, Microsoft Excel. All right. How do we analyze data using Microsoft Excel? Now, Excel has a lot of different functions and the likes. It has different functions, different applications, different formulas, but I'm going to be focusing on the data analysis part of it. So, all right, so we're going to be starting with the introduction to Excel, understanding the Excel environment. I'm going to assume none of us have any prior knowledge to Excel, although some of us have it, but not everybody. So I'll try and bring it down to the lowest level I can. Understanding the Excel environment, understanding the basic Excel functions. Okay. Lest I forget. Please, hope we all downloaded the file I sent or that was sent to us. Just drop a yes in the chat box because we're going to be using one of them today. And also, hope our Microsoft Excel is ready. Okay, I have yes. All right. Please, is there anybody having difficulty opening the folder? If you have any difficulty, just say I have difficulty so we can quickly trash that before we proceed. Please, if you're not able to get the folder one way or the other, just drop a no, please, as soon as you can. All right, seems we all got it. All right then. No. Oh. Martin Zolumide, are you on the group? Please reply as
Yes,
soon as.
yes, I'm on the group.
The file was sent to the group, actually.
Oh, I can't actually find it.
Okay, I'm coming. Where is it? Let me try and send it to the group again so you can access it. Okay. Control. Excel. All right, I just sent it to the group now. It should enter now. So if there's anybody who didn't get it in one way or the other, I just sent it to the group now. So all you just have to do is make sure you view it with your system, right click on it. You will see, depending on the Windows you're using, if it's Windows 10, just right click on it, you will see extract here. If it's Windows 11, you see something like extract file something. Just look for the word extract. All right, so that being said. So after that, we're going to be looking at understanding the basic Excel functions and their applications, or using paste special cell referencing. We're going to start with that. We have other functions. As we proceed on it, we're going to move higher to other functions. All right, so what is Excel? Excel is pronounced like this, Excel. It is a spreadsheet program developed by Microsoft. What do you mean by spreadsheet? It means it's been organized in, it organizes data in rows and columns and allows you to do mathematical functions like addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, and others. Don't forget, I said there's a lot of functions Excel can actually perform, a lot of them. Mean, median, mode, variance, standard deviation. But like I said, I'm going to be focusing on data analytics only. So concerning standard deviation and whatsoever, you don't need that as a data analyst for now. So I'm just going to focus on the essential functions we need. So Excel actually runs on Windows, like the one you might probably have. For those using Apple systems, that's macOS. You can also operate it on your Android phone and your iOS Apple phones. But of course, I don't expect you to be doing this on your phones. It's easier and way better with your system. So I believe we are all with our system. So understanding Excel environment. So this is what please, in case I'm moving too fast or talking too fast, let me know. So, all right, so this is what, by the time you click on, you open your Excel software, this is what it looks like. So I'll try and explain the important features that we need. Now, let me start with rows and columns. Earlier, I said Excel organizes data in rows and columns. That's what makes it a spreadsheet program. Now, what are rows and columns? Your rows are the ones arranged horizontally. These are your rows. Can you see this line? Can everybody see my cursor? Yeah, you should be able to see my cursor. Please, can someone drop a yes? Can everybody see my cursor? Oh, okay, thank you. All right, so the horizontally arranged ones, they are called your rows, and they are named numerically, like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. We have a lot of rows, and we have columns. Columns are the ones arranged vertically. Your rows are the ones arranged horizontally, while the columns are the ones arranged vertically. That is this A, B, C, D, and the right. They are called your columns. While the horizontally arranged ones, named numerically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that, they are called your rows. Now, the intersection of a particular row and a particular column makes a cell. This is what I'm saying. This is a column. This is a row. Their intersection is this place. You see this box, this rectangular box, this is a cell. You discover that we have a lot of them. This is a cell, 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 this is a lot of them like that. And every cell has a name. Every cell has a name. It starts with, don't forget, a cell is the combination of, or is the intersection of a row and a column. It also takes the name of that row and column. For instance, now, if I'm to name this cell, I'm going to name it H9. It takes the name of the column first, followed by the row. So this is cell H9. Who can name this for me? Where I have my cursor. You can just drop it in the chat box. Where I currently have my cursor, what's the name?
M2.
M2, thank you so much. So that means we get how to name our cells. That's definitely how to name your cells. All right, so the next thing we have is, okay, anywhere your cursor is in your spreadsheet is actually named active cell. Don't forget, I said all these are your cells, all these boxes are your cell. Now, your active cell is the cell you're actually working on presently. Like right now, the cursor is on this cell. That is cell D4. So any cell that your cursor is rightly on is called an active cell. And also, every cell has a fill handle. The fill handle is always at the corner, bottom right corner. Here, over here, where I have my cursor. Now, there's a function for the fill handle. I'm going to explain that later. It has its own special assignment. I'll be using them very well. Oftentimes, once we apply them. This is called formula bar over here. So any formula you type in any of the cells, it will always appear here in case you want to edit or erase it. Okay, another thing is address bar. Now, another thing, when I was asking for the name of cells, you could just look at it, trace it to the column name, and trace it to the row name. But anywhere your cursor is, that is anywhere your active cell is, just look at this address bar, the name will be there. Like this one, for instance, now, D4. If you look at your address bar, you see that the name is there. So anywhere you put your cursor, the name will automatically appear in your address bar, which is also called the name box. All right, now in Excel, you can have multiple sheets at a time. Now, if you look down to this place, you see sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. Beside it, you will see a plus sign inside the circle. If you click on that, you can create as many sheets as you want. Rightly below that, we have the status bar. That deals with the view of the Excel. You can decide to expand it. Maybe you want to be more legible. You can increase the view. Presently is at 100%. If you open yours, it will automatically be at 100%. So you can decide to increase it or reduce it. Okay, what else have I not mentioned? Okay, also we have your file menu. File menu consists, that's where you have your new, open, save as. By the time I open my Excel, I'm going to show us more on that because this is actually a presentation. So I won't be able to talk more or practicalize more of it. So your quick access toolbar contains some of the functions or some of the tools that you have under your file, like save and the likes. So now, where you have all these file, home, insert, page layouts, formulas, and the likes, they are called your ribbon tab. So anytime I tell you go to your ribbon tab or go to data under ribbon tab, you know that this is what I'm talking about. Also, we have the title bar. The title bar contains of the name of your Excel file. Now, when you save your file, let's say, now this file has been saved as book 1, for instance. Anything you save a file as, it will always appear here as the title bar. All right, so that's by that. Don't forget, in case you have any question or you have anything you want to say, kindly raise up your hand. So I believe you all understood what I explained. All right, so the next thing is, what are now the basic Excel functions? Now, most of these functions are what we know. Sum, we have sum. Sum is to add up numbers together. It's just like your simple addition, 2 plus 2, 1 plus 1. That's what the sum function does. The next one is the minimum function. Let's say, for instance, now, okay, don't let me give examples for now. So the minimum function is simply to return the lowest. I don't want to use the word minimum, so let me say lowest. It returns the lowest value in a particular data set. Let's say I have 1, 2, 3 to 10 like that. If I applied minimum function to all the set of values I just mentioned now, it will return 1 because 1 is the lowest function, is the lowest value. Maximum function returns the highest value in a particular data set. Just like I gave the example I just gave now, 1 to 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If I apply my maximum function to that, it will return what? 10, because 10 is the highest value in the range of values I just said. Now, what does the average function do? The average function is used to calculate the mean. If you still remember our mathematics, the mean is summation fx over summation f. That is, it adds up all the numbers. For instance, 1 to 10, it will add it 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 5 like that to 10, and divide it by the total number of the values. Now, if you count 1 to 10, that's 10 now, right? So it's divided by 10. So that's what the average function does. It will add up all the numbers you have in the data set divided by the total number of those values. Now, what does your count function do? Okay, very quickly, as I just remembered, please do well to jot. I won't be releasing my slide after the class, so please do well to jot as much as you can. Thank you. I think someone asked the question last year. I could not answer the question. I already saw it late. All right, so what does the count function do? Now you will discover that we have count function and we have count a function. Now, what the count function does is it counts only numbers in a particular data set. Count function counts only numbers in a particular data set. While your count a functions count both numbers and text. When I mean numbers, you know what I'm saying? 1 to as much as you want. And when I mean text, I mean such as maybe Excel, for instance, the text, basic functions, Ademola, whatever, they are not numbers. Those are text. We also call them strings. Please note these words: text and string. They are the same thing. So your count function, again, I repeat myself, counts just numbers. While your count a function counts both numbers and text together. So even if I should have series of text and I use count function for them, it should definitely return 0 because you can't recognize them. They are not numbers. Now the next function is the if function. The next function is the if function. Coming. Let me quickly take. So the next function is the if function. Now the if function is a little bit higher than the rest. Yes, it's not entirely basic, but it's also basic. So what does the if function does? Please, I want us to pay very rapt attention to this. Pay attention to this. Now the if function, okay, is actually a logical function. It returns a value for false and it returns a value for true. Let me cite an example. Let's say, let me try to make it simple. Let me use someone from the group. Okay, let's say, okay, I can say Agbaji Damilare. Okay. Let me make it, okay, let's say Agbaji Damilare. Now, let's assume Agbaji Damilare is wearing, okay, let me put it like this. Let's say Agbaje Damilare is 30 years old. Let's assume Agbaje Damilare is 30 years old. And I want to write a function if he's 30 years old or not, to confirm if he's 30 years old or not. Now, I will use my if function. Don't forget, I said if function returns a value for true. If it's true, it returns a value. And if it's false, it returns a value based on a logical test. Now, the logical test here is, don't forget the example is, if Agbaje Damilare is 30 years old. No, it's like this. Agbaje Damilare is 30 years old, yes. But I want to use my if statement to confirm. But I want to use my if statement to confirm if it's truly 30 years old. Now, the logical test is Agbaje is 30 years old. That's what I'm testing, right? Now, we now say that if Agbaje is 30 years old, say that yes, or let me say that I am correct, or say that he is 30 years old. But if he's not 30 years old, say that Agbaje is not 30 years old. Please don't let us mix this up. For if function, there will always be a logical test, something you want to test. And for the result is always in true. One that we agree, one that will return if your logical test is true, it will return a value. If your logical test is false, it will return a value. Now let me ask us this question. Don't forget, Agbaje is 30 years old. So I will say that if Agbaje is 30 years old, what's the value if it's true? I said, okay, in fact, let me make it simple. If it's true, say that reply yes. If it's false, reply no. Now, with what I just explained, what do you think the function is going to give me? Is it yes or no? Let me see if I get what I'm trying to explain. Carrying out that function, will it return yes or it will return no? Please use the text box or use the chat box rather. Will the function return yes or return no? It will return yes. Okay, can I have more yes? Or, well, if you feel, okay, yes, I'm going to take that again. So nobody is taking no. All right. Someone said I should take that again. Okay, let me take it one more time. Now, if function. Now, I want us to pay rapt attention to this. You can't run away from this if function. It's very, very essential. As a data analyst, you're going to apply it a lot, quite a lot of times. So now, if function, what does it do? There are always three parameters to note using a if function. Number one is the logical test. Number two is the value if it's true. Or let me put it this way, the return value if it's true, and the return value if it's false. Don't forget the three things: the logical test, the return value if it's true, and the return value if your logical test is false. Now, the logical test is Agbaje is 30 years old. Agbaje is 30 years old. That's a logical test. You already have a logical test. Without a logical test, you can't do anything. That's the logical test. Now, it's remaining two parameters, right? The value if it's true and the value if it's false. Don't forget, all these things, you'll be the one to define it. You are instructing Excel to do it. So my logical test will be Agbaje is equals to 30 years old. Now, after that, we have something. Value if it's true. I will say that, okay, if it's true, return yes. If it's false, return no. Now, I'm using that. Don't worry, you will understand it more later. So now, do you understand what I just explained now? That's why I asked that. Okay, if I should run that particular test, will it return yes or return no? So someone's Glory said yes. I believe it is she. So she's yeah, all right, all right. Okay, I have more yes now. So yes, you are correct. It will return yes because Agbaje is actually 30 years old. Now, Azumi, good. Azumi Ana writes Agbaje is 20 years old, whereas Agbaje, okay, don't let me get us confused. Let me leave that. By the time we get to the practical aspect, we understand it more. So that's what the if function does. There's always a logical test. There's always a value for true. If it's true, there's always a value for if your logical test is false. All right, so the next thing we'll be looking at is, okay, before I move to the next thing, don't let me bombard us too much. Let's practicalize what I just explained. Let's quickly practicalize that, then we can come back to this. So everybody open your Excel. So part of the file I sent to us, you will see a file named basic functions. Now we have basic functions and data cleansing, and we have basic functions. Open the one with the basic functions. Open the one with the basic functions. So this is what it's going to look like. Basic functions. Please, let's quickly do that. If yours is open, please drop yes on the group or drop opened. Anyone? If yours is open, okay. Please, if yours is open, quickly, kindly drop open on the group. Is there anybody having any issue opening their or navigating or unzipping the Excel file? Kindly let me know. Now, it's very essential you practicalize this. Okay, someone raised. Okay, let's have you, Dr. Christian.
Yes, sir. So, thank you. I opened mine, but it just shows blue in the
Oh,
column
okay,
that
okay.
details
All
are.
right. Sorry to cut
Okay.
you. I understand what you're saying. This is what yours is showing, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, quickly, this is the last sheet. Quickly,
Okay.
navigate to the first sheet. You can
Okay.
see, you can see my cursor. You can use this 3 dots, ellipses, or
Yes.
something. So it will take you to the first
First.
page.
Okay.
All right. So everybody, I'm sure yours to appear like that. Just try and navigate to where you have the sum function, like this. So navigate to where you have the sum function. Please, I think so far I only have 2 persons that have responded. Please, if yours is open, let me know before I proceed, because it's very important to practicalize this as I'm doing it. I mean, it's very important to try and practicalize it, because in as much as this thing is very simple, it's quite easy to forget too. So although we're going to have the video after the class anyways. So in case you miss anything, I'll always check the video. If you want me to wait for you trying to open it, quickly drop wait for me. If not, I'm going to continue. So should in case you're trying to open yours and you want me to wait for you, quickly drop wait for me. All right, since there's no wait for me, let's continue then. All right, like I explained, the first function I'm going to be applying is the sum function. Okay, I said I was going to explain some of those features when I open my Excel. So now these are what I was trying to explain the other time. You have your columns, you have your rows. Now this is where you can increase this zoom. This is what it does. You can increase it so it can be more legible. These are different sheets. I told you can create as many sheets as you want. Sum is a sheet, average is a sheet, count is a sheet. So for each function, we'll be using different sheets for them. These are sheets. We have a lot of functions here. As the time goes by, I'm going to teach you how to apply them. So under file, this is what you have. You have new, open, save as, print, share. You can export, you can publish, you can close. Now these are the recent files I've opened. So any recent file you open will always appear here. So if you want to save, is that you click on this, is that you use Control S, use Control S to save. Is that you press Control plus S on your keyboard, or you can save from here. This thing looking like a diskette. You can save here, or you can come to your file and either save or save as. Now the save as is used to, let's say for instance, you want to, the file I sent you is I already created the file. If you click on save, it's just save it automatically. But if you click on save as, it will help you to rename the file. And it will duplicate it when you save it as something else. So be having two of it. All right. So the sum function, like I said earlier, is categorized under Excel, math, and trigonometric functions. The function will sum up cells that are supplied as multiple arguments. It is mostly popular and widely used in Excel from an Excel used function. It is the most popular and widely used function in Excel. Yes. Now you might be wondering what is math and trigonometrical functions. Those are your sum, average. Now let me quickly show you something. If you are right beside your formula bar, you will see a function here, fx. If you click on fx, I'm not sure you can you see my dialog box? I don't think you can. I don't think Google Meet allows viewers to see any pop-up box. I don't think you can see it. But if you click on your fx, you will see it will bring out a dialog box. You will see sum, average, if, hyperlink. If you drop down there's a place that has the most recently used. If you drop it down, you will see different categories of functions. You will see date and time, financial, math and trig, and the likes. I'm just trying to explain where we got the math and trig function from. Okay, so now we have two questions here. It says sum for 2017 and 2018. Now this is a data set. Well, it's for examples anyway, but it's still a data set. We have the serial number, we have the country name, we have year 2017 and year 2018. Now let's assume this is let's say revenue generated for each country is an assumption. This is the revenue generated for 2017 for these countries. For Nigeria, 2017 is what? That's 105,366. Like that. So now the question is sum for 2017 and 2018. That is for all the countries. Now, how do we go about that? Now, you have to note something. Any formula or any function you want to apply in Excel, it must start with an equal sign. Any function you want to apply or make use of in Excel, it must start with an equal sign. So you have your equal sign like this. Now this function is named sum. Now pay attention to this. Now you can see that I typed out my sum, right? Immediately I typed out sum. You will see that, I don't know if you can see this. You see that Excel actually brought out so many functions related to sum. You have sum if, some ifs, some product, some SQ. All these have their uses. The sum ifs and some ifs, I will explain them later, since we are dealing with the basic functions yet. So now you have, it's important, it's expedient that you select the one Excel is giving you. Now Excel is displaying their own sum. Now, how do you select this? Is it that you double click on it or you press your tab key? Now you see that there's difference between this and this. So it's very important. Please note all these things. These are the simple errors people normally make, especially when you're just starting out with Excel. The first thing is your equal sign. It's very important. Type out sum. Now don't leave it like this and say you want to continue. No. Type out sum. Although some applications, actually some softwares, it depends on the version of software you're using, they will allow you to still go ahead to be able to carry it out. But to avoid other errors, because there are some they won't allow you. So you have to select this sum such that you have number one, number two. The number one and number two just asking, okay, what do you want to sum? Don't forget the question is sum for 2017 and 2018. Now, after selecting it, you come to this place. You select it. You see that we have C2 here. So you left click and drag it. Don't forget to select this. You left click. We know, hope we all know how to left click. You left click on your mouse and you drag it to cover both 2017 and 2018. Close your bracket and put enter. Now it will appear like this if the number is way too big for the cell. So in this case, you come to this line, you see a double-edged cursor. Just double click and expand it. Just double click and expand it. All right, now let me teach you another method. This is another method. Now this method is the easiest because I know you might want to ask me, what if you now have 1,000 rows? Will you start dragging like that? Now this is what you do. You select the first cell, you press your Control plus Shift, then you use your right arrow, take it to the right and take it down. It will select everything at once. Let me take that again. Put your cursor on the first cell. Press your Control plus Shift at the same time. While your Control plus Shift is still being pressed, use your right arrow and your down arrow to select everything and press OK. Now, did we get that? Please just drop a yes if you got that. All right, thank you. Okay, thank you so much. So very quickly now, can we quickly do for 2017? Can we attempt for 2017? Quickly sum for 2017. You know what we did was for 2017 and 2018. Quickly do for 2017. When you are done, paste your answer on the group chat, on the chat box rather. Type your answer in the chat box when you are done. I hope everybody is following. So calculate sum for 2017. That is the total revenue for all the countries for 2017. And paste your answer inside the chat box. Okay. Okay, I have I have answers already. All right. All right, let's check if they are correct. So you apply some Don't forget, you put your arrow here. Is it that you drag it down, or you can apply Control plus Shift. Okay, yes, they are correct. So, yes, that's correct. Thank you so much for the response. All right, now let's move to, now that's how to apply sum function in Excel, basically. So let's move to the next function. Now, please, you see that I navigated to the next sheet. Do the same to navigate to the next sheet. The next sheet is average. Just click on it. So the average function, like I explained earlier, let me reduce this a little bit. All right, like I explained earlier, I said the average function calculates the average, which is also known as arithmetic mean of supplied numbers. Average can handle up to 255 individual arguments, which can include numbers, cell references, ranges, array, constants. Okay, cell references, I'm going to explain that later. We have cell referencing, ranges, arrays, and constants. All right. So how do we calculate average for year 2017? So you have a question, average for year 2017, average for year 2017 and 18. Just like for sum, it's the same approach. You start with your equal sign. You type out your average like this. Now you have average A, average if, average ifs. Well, I'm going to explain those later. But there's something about Excel functions. Excel will always give you what the functions are used for. Now, if you look at this average, it says returns the average of arguments, which can be numbers, just like what I just explained. So something with Excel functions is it will always give you a guide on how to go about each and every function. Don't worry, by the time we get to if function, you understand what I'm saying. So choose average. Now, what do you want to average? Year 2017. The same method, just select 2017. Close the bracket. Either you close the bracket or not, it will still work, but get used to closing your bracket and calculate the average. So I want us to calculate average for year 2017 and 2018. And when you are done, drop the answer in the group, in the chat box. Calculate the average for year 2017 and 2018. Okay, I have answers already. Comment. Okay, all right, we have 68 million and okay, let's check that. All right, that's correct. Now let's move to the next function. That is the count function. Don't forget, I said the count function is used to count values that are numbers. If they are not numbers, it's not going to see them as anything. It won't count them. It's just going to omit them. So I want you to do something. Now apply the count function. The function is count. Now I want you to select from Nigeria down to the last value for year 2018, like this. I want you to select from Nigeria down to the last value, which is 65,465. Select from Nigeria to the last value. And by the time you apply it, you have 20. But if you look at what you selected, you see that it's way more than 20. What you selected should be 30. but it will only return 20 because it does not count text or strings. It only counts numbers. Now I want you to navigate to your count A function. Select the same range of values as selected here and tell me your answer. Don't forget I said something. If you want to access your formula, you can always come to your formula bar like this. You know, by the time you press enter, you have a value. Is either you double click or you just come to your formula bar and you can access it there easily. I can edit anything you want to edit in case you make a mistake. Oh, okay. Also, anytime you make a mistake and you don't know what to do, there's a function name or there's a command name undo command. That's Control Z. If you press Control plus Z, it will undo whatsoever you've done to some number of steps. And if you want to redo, maybe you applied undo and be like, oh, I need it back. You can just redo it. That is Control Y to redo. Please, you can note it down. Control Z to undo. Maybe you made a mistake that you could not delete. You can Control Z to undo it. That is to erase what you've done. And you can Control Y to redo it back. So that being said, apply count A function to the same range of values you used for your count and tell me your answer. Let me check the... Okay, nobody has done it yet. Please drop it in the chat box when you're done. Tell me your final answer. Okay, I have 30. Does anybody have a contrary answer? Okay, 30. All right, not to waste much of our time. They are correct. It is 30. So if you have applied it well, count A. Don't forget, you are using count A this time around. Now we discovered that we have count A, count blank, count if, count ifs. I'm going to explain all these things later, but for a count blank, let me quickly just chip that in. So what your count blank does is it counts cells that are empty in a particular data set. You know, let's say, for instance, I decide to collect our data for this class. And I say, okay, everybody give me your first name, give me your last name, give me your age, give me your phone number, give me your email. Now, you will discover that oftentimes when we are being told to fill forms, some of us leave out our ages, yes, or our date of birth. We do that a lot. We leave it out. Now, that cell is good for your data. That cell is going to be empty. So let's say I just want to know the total number of empty cells in my data set. What I'm going to use, the function I'm going to use for that is count blank. So it's going to count cells that are empty. So that's what we use the count blank for. So applying the count A function, still selecting the same range of numbers. We have 30 because count A counts both numbers and text. All right, let's move to the next function. That is maximum function. It's being shortened as max. It says the Excel max function returns the largest numeric value in a range of values. The max function ignores empty cells. The logical values true and false, and text values. What this is trying to explain is the maximum function does not regard empty cells. Of course, there's nothing there. There's nothing to return. Logical values, that is true or false. Don't forget I explained logical values to us. No, not in a way per se, but I explained how to your value if is true and your value if is false. That says almost similar to our true or false logical values. It does not make use of, it does not return anything. And for your text values too, you cannot count tests. I hope we all know that. So maximum function ignores empty cells, logical values true and false, and your text values. It only works with numbers. That's what that place is trying to talk about. So now let's say I'm being asked this question that for year 2017, which country has the maximum revenue? The first thing you want to do is you apply maximum function. You select it. And then you select all the range of values you have in 2017 and press enter. It will return the country, it will return the maximum value. Then you can now trace it. Oh, the country that has the maximum value is what? Arab world for 2017. Now, this is your classwork. Calculate for, no, let me make it simple. Let me make it interesting. Which country has the highest revenue for year 2018? Which country has the highest revenue for 2018 and also indicates the revenue? Which country has the highest revenue for year 2018 and also indicates the actual revenue? Let's quickly do that. Which country has the highest revenue for year 2018? Oh, okay. Okay. I have an answer already. But please still post your answer. Drop your answer when you're done. Some of us are not responding. I can call any of us at any point in time and ask you any question. So please, if you are going with us, kindly drop it. Okay. All right, they are correct. Arab world, and they also have the maximum revenue. So you just apply your maximum. Select for 2018. Just trace it, and you have Arab world. So I believe you should be able to do this. So what's the minimum revenue for the 2 years combined? What is the minimum? You just apply your minimum function. You select the 2 years, everything, and you have your minimum revenue, which is 65,000. All right, so as not to waste most of our time, let's move to the if function. So let's move to the if function. So if function, please everybody navigate to the if function. Now this part is very, 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 very essential. I said it earlier, you cannot escape if function. It's everywhere. You cannot escape it. You cannot escape it. You have it in Excel, you have it in Tableau, you have it in Power BI, you have it everywhere. So try and please everybody, whatever it is you're doing now, please just pen it and listen to me. Now, it's still the same data set, but this time around, we are going to assume these are populations. But you agree with me, if they are population, there's this .00 should not be here, right? It should not be given currency mentality. So everybody quickly do this. Select your range of values from 2017 to 2018 like this. I want to show you how to change data type. Now let me explain what is data type. Now data type is simply what should I call it now? They characterize your values. Let me put it that way. For instance, these are your data types. You have general. General consists of almost all the data types, but majorly numbers and text. We have number data type. We have currency data type. The currency is when you want to represent your data or your values with maybe dollar, naira, like that. Pounds. And counting, we have date data type. That's when your data is in date. You have long date. That is, you have an example. Like you want to write it in full, like Saturday, yes, April 8th, like that, like we have it here. You have time data type. And we also have more data types. If you click on it, you have a lot of it. So those are data types. Now, if you look at it, the present data type is at custom. Is our custom. So I want to change it from custom to, don't forget their population. So I will change it to general. So everybody, can we quickly do that? I will change it to general. I will change, okay. Or rather, because you discover that when I change it to general, okay, you can change it to general. But there is something. Let me quickly show us this. Let me quickly show. I just did something now. I know you might want to ask me what I did. You know, when I changed it to general, I was having something like this, right? So you can Control Z to undo, to undo, to undo, to undo, to undo, to undo. So that I can have it like this. So instead of changing it, you know, when I changed it to general, it's removed the comma and it was looking cumbersome. So another thing you can do is, after selecting it like this, you can come to this place. You will see rightly below your where we have consumed the other time. You will see increase decimal, decrease decimal. So if you click on decrease decimal, it will remove the decimal point. Don't forget the goal of what we wanted to do is just to remove the decimal point. So you can just click on this to remove the decimal point such that you have it like it's not a currency whatsoever format. So you can use this as populations. I don't know if you got what I just explained. Please hope nobody is lost, please. All right. In that case, now we have population for all the countries. Don't forget, we used as revenue before, but now I want to use as population. Now this is the population for 2017 for Nigeria. 2018 is the population. So now the first thing is, if you look at this, we have extra columns. The first one says total population. The second one says country size. The third one says country size too. So the first thing is, how do we calculate the total population for both year 2017 and 2018? Don't forget earlier, I told you you can also perform addition function, which is using your sum. But okay, let me see if we can do it first. Can we try to calculate the total population for 2017 and 2018? But don't forget, this is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you calculate the total like this. For each country, you calculate the total. For Nigeria, for instance, you calculate the total right inside the cell. Okay. I think this will make me to explain. This will make me to explain Philandu now. Okay, before you do that, let me quickly explain this, please. Let me quickly explain this. Now, if let's say, okay, let me use this page to explain. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. Please, let's look up. Let's say, for instance, now, I want to sum up these numbers. 1 plus 3 to give me this, 2 plus 2 to be inside the cell, 4 plus 4 to be inside the cell. You know, if I ask you this normally, I'm very sure just say 1 plus 1, 4, 2 plus 2, 4, 4 plus 4, 8, 4 plus 5, 9. Like that. But in Excel, you don't have to repeat the same process for all other whatsoever. You can just do for this one cell and apply to other cells. So in cases whereby you have 2,000 rows and you want to, let's say for instance now, we only have 10 rows. Imagine we have 2,000 rows. Does that mean I will be doing it one by one? No. That's cell referencing. But I've not gotten there yet. But let me just quickly chip it in so it makes things easier for us. I'll just say that no, that's another thing. I know if I ask you to do it, you will say that 1 plus 3. In Excel, we don't do this. We reference cell. Ah, oh goodness. Oh goodness. Should I go and explain cell referencing before I do this? All right, let me just quickly chip this in. So you just pick this cell, the cell that contains the 1, plus this cell that contains the 3. You don't write out the numbers. You pick the cells. You put enter. Now, there's no need for you to do the same thing to the rest. Now, this is what we call fill handle. Can you see this handle? This plus sign, not this big one. No. When you come to this corner, not this one. No. When you come to this corner, you see one thick plus sign. Just drag it down. It will automatically calculate for the rest and give their respective answers. I just explained this so that we won't be calculating all this one by one. So just do for the first cell and drag, it will automatically calculate for the rest. So can we try that? Oh, please take that part again. Please, which part am I taking again? Bukumi. Bukumi, please, you can unmute and speak up. Is Bukumi still on the call? Yes, now. Allow you, Bukumi, right? Or do you understand now? Okay.
Yes, I can understand. You can.
Oh, okay, all right.
All
All right. Yeah, you can speak up.
Yeah, can you start afresh again? Let's see how you did it.
Okay, for this part, right?
Yes, from the beginning. Yeah.
Okay, I think I just have to explain. In fact, let me quickly pause this then. I was meant to explain something to us before doing this. Let me just quickly explain that, so maybe we get it more. Let me just quickly explain that. Okay, let me quickly explain paste special too. All right, now in Excel, or normally, I'm sure some of you are familiar with copy and pasting, copy messages, you paste them, in the Control C to copy and Control V to paste. And you know that, of course, the first thing you do before copying is you select what you want to copy. You press Control C or you right click on it and you click on copy. A lot of us copy and paste movies. I think that one, everybody should be familiar with that. So now, by the time you copy anything, let's say for instance now, let me leave movies out of the way. Let's say Excel or Word or whatever software you're using. The normal thing you do is you Control C and Control V. Now, the Control V you're doing is always pasting everything. Let's say, for instance, I copy a particular cell. You paste, you're copying it with every entity that is in that cell. That is the value of that cell. Maybe the cell is colored blue. That's what when you press Control C, you're copying everything. Now, when you press Control V, you're also pasting everything with it. Now, but paste special allows you to pick exactly what you want to paste. Maybe it's only the format you want to paste, that is the color blue. Or maybe it's just the value you want to paste or whatever you want to paste. That's the special thing about paste special. And the command for that is Control plus Alt plus V. Please just try and note everything I'm saying. Now we're still going to practicalize it we get to more when I practicalize it, but just try and note one or two things down. For paste special, it allows you to select exactly what you want to paste. And the shortcut is Control plus Alt plus V. All right. Now, cell referencing. You could remember I mentioned cell referencing when I was doing something there that most of us could not get it. So that's why I'm here. Let me explain cell referencing. So by the time I go back there, it's more easier. So we have something called cell referencing. So cell referencing is basically what simple explanation can I give it? What's a good definition can I give it? It simply means making use of yourself. Let me just put it like that. Making use of yourself. I don't want to say reference to yourself. Cell referencing simply means making use of yourself. Don't get it confused. Cell referencing simply means making use of yourself in any way you can use it. Don't forget, earlier when I was trying to explain, when I was trying to display what I displayed the other time. Let's say, for instance, now I use some number, or I input some numbers in some cells. Like for instance, now 1 + 1. I was saying you don't type out 1 + 1. You pick that cell. That's basically cell referencing. Making use of your cell, making use of the name of your cell. That is cell referencing. That's the layman definition. Now we have 3 types of cell referencing. We have the relative referencing, we have the absolute referencing, and we have the mixed referencing. So very quickly, for the sake of what I was explaining the other time, we just explain relative referencing for now. So your relative referencing, it does not make you, is a type of cell referencing that does not make use of the $sign. Relative referencing does not make use of the dollars. It's a type of referencing that does not make use of the $sign. I know the next question is, what do you mean by $sign? What does the $sign do? Now, the $sign is used to lock a particular cell or column or row. I'll repeat that again. The $sign is used to lock a particular cell or a column or a row. Don't forget, what makes up a cell is what? Row and column. So what I'm trying to say is, so there are sometimes you lock both row and column. There are sometimes you lock only the row. There are sometimes you lock only the cell. Only the column rather. Don't worry, I know you're probably a little bit confused. Just try and jot them down and try and understand them. By the time you practicalize it, you understand what I'm saying. Again, relative referencing does not make use of the $sign. What does the $sign do? It is used to fix a particular cell or row or column. Now, let me give us an example of relative referencing. Okay, I already said this. It does not contain $signs in a row or column. Relative cell references type in Excel change when a formula is copied or dragged to another cell. In Excel, cell reference is relatively default. Okay, let me just explain. Now, I want you to look at this. We have a column for products. Let me see. Hope nobody is saying something like that. Okay. So we have a column for products. We have a column for quantity. We have a column for price. Let's assume this is a particular supermarket. As far as, let's say, Talimo or whatever this is, they have 144 of Talimo and the price is 55. Now let's assume they sold. This means, let's assume these are sales data. They already sold 144 and one is 55. Now, if I say you should calculate the total sales, or in fact, let me ask you this question. Sorry. Now, everybody listen up. Now, let's say I have a supermarket, or let me use somebody from the group. Let me use Bukumi. Let's say Bukumi has a supermarket, and the last thing Bukumi sold was butter. Now, don't forget, Bukumi sold butter, and she sold 10 butters. Or let me say, let's assume it's actually sachet water. Sorry, sachet butter. So let's assume Bukumi sold 10 sachet butter. 10 of them. Now the price of one butter is, let's say, 100 naira. Now, if I ask you, what is the total sale for butter, or what is the total, should I say total price now, of the butter that Bukumi sold? What will be the answer? Please, let's drop it on the chat group.
1,000 naira.
Okay, someone said 1,000 naira. Do we agree with that? Please, let's drop it on the chat box. Okay, not to waste time. He said 1,000 naira, and that is absolutely correct. What he did was he multiplied the 10 items by the price. That is 10 times 100 naira. That's 1,000. Now, what he did was 10 multiplied by 100. Now, let's note that. Now, let's go back to what we were doing. Now, that's all happened here. Quantity times price gives the total sales. Now, what that person said was, sorry, I didn't ask for your name. What he said was 144. He said 1,000, which is 10 times. Now, in this case, now, I'm sure if I ask him to do this, he will say that 144 multiplied by 55. Now, in Excel, we won't say 144 multiplied by 55. Now, asterisk is a multiplication sign we use in Excel. You will see asterisk on your keyboard. Asterisk means multiplication sign here in Excel. Don't forget, for any formula, you need to start with your equal sign. That's why we have equal sign here. Now, instead of saying equal sign 144 multiplied by 55, you pick the cell containing that 144. And if you look at it, the cell containing 144 is what? B2. Now, you don't need to type out B2. You can type it out too. There's nothing wrong in that. Since you know that your 144 is in B2, you can type it out. But to save time, you can just select it. Just select it like this. Just select the cell. The name will automatically appear there. Here. Asterisk, you select this. Then you press enter. It automatically calculates this times this. Now, why are we applying? Now, what you just did is cell referencing, but you are still not done. By the time you now drag down, you come to this corner. I already showed us fill handle. By the time you drag it down, Excel will automatically calculate for the rest. Don't forget, what you inputted here was the cell. By the time you drag down, Excel will, by the time Excel gets to this place, Excel will use P3 multiplied by C3. Like that, like that. Now, assuming you typed 144 multiplied by 55 and you drag down, Excel will give you the same answer for everything. Because your 144, it is fixed. So that's why what I just did now is cell referencing. Applying the name of the cell to calculate functions and dragging it down is called cell referencing. And what type of cell referencing is it? Relative referencing. Please, do we get that? Please, let's drop a yes on the group if you get it. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. So I believe everybody got it then. Thank you. So now let's go back to, before I go to absolute referencing and the likes, let's go back to our Excel now. So I believe we should be able to understand now when we go about this. Where is it? Okay. All right. Now, if I say, good. I said everybody should calculate the total population. I believe everybody can calculate the total population now without calculating for each cell, one after the other. Just calculate for the first cell and you drag down, which is what? Relative referencing. Can we quickly do that? Or to save our time, just use your equal sign. Now, there are two ways you can do this. Is that you use your sum function and you select it like this. You press enter. Now, This is how you drag down. This is how you drag it down like this. Don't forget to, oftentimes people make this mistake. You don't drag down. No, this is not dragging down. No. You drag down from this tip. When it's changing to this tick, whatever, you drag it down. And another way is you can just double click on it. It's automatically calculated like that. Just double click on it, it's automatically calculated. Now that's one step. Another step is you can just say that this, you select that cell, the one I just explained, plus this. Enter to still give you the same answer. Now you can also subtract too. Let's say I want to subtract, I want to see the changes on the increase over 2017. I will just say that 2018 minus 2017. I just want to know the difference. So addition also works here, and I will drag down. Now you see that some has negative signs, which means 2017 was greater than 2018 for those places. So all right, so going back to what I said we should do. So you can just select this plus this. Then you drag down. Don't forget you have this 00 at the end. Hope you still remember I said you should remove it. Just select everything. You come to this place, you will see decrease decimal, and you decrease it. Just press it twice, it will remove all the decimals. Has everybody done the total calculated total population? Drop a yes on the group. Drop a no if not, or maybe you didn't get how to do that. You didn't get my explanation. Drop a no, but if you have done it, please drop a yes. Okay. Oh, all right. Thank you so much. I have like 3 years already. So now, how do we now apply our if function? Let me read what we have here. It says the if function runs a logical test. Don't forget, I said your if function always contain was 3 parameters. Note these things. The first one is the logical test. The second one is, you see, it says the if function runs a logical test. That's the first thing I mentioned. Returns one value for true results. That's the second parameter. Returns a value if it's true, if your logical test is true. And another value if your logical test is 4. Those are the 3 parameters of a if function. All right. Now, noting that, putting it by your left-hand side. Now, look at this. We have country size 1 and country size 2. Now, this is the, okay, let me name it. This is the criteria for country size. Let me put country size 1. Now, to edit any of your whatever, just double click on it. Let me give it a different color so we don't mix it up. Let me give this one red. And let me give this one, let's say, blue. Let me give this one red. I'm changing the color from here. So when we get to dashboard, we deal more with the color of the thing. So let me name this country size 2, so we don't mix it up. Give it blue here. All right. Now we have country size 1, country size 2. What am I trying to do? Using this total population, let's say I want to categorize the countries with maybe the country is small or the country is large. You know, oftentimes, sometimes they say, the country is developing based on whatsoever. There's so many things to take, though. There's so many criteria to use for that. But if you're going to define, just for instance now, how do you know a city is actually a city? There's a particular population they look at. If it's, I think, I can't really remember. I think if it's less than 1,000 or so, it's a village or something. I can't remember. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So now, under this country size now, you will see something. I have less than or equal to 10 million. It means the country is small, which means greater than 10 million, it is large. Now, don't forget, I said there's always a logical test for an if function. Now, the logical test is, now for a particular if function, a particular if function can only accept one logical test for one particular if function. Now, we have two criteria here. Less than or equal to 10 million, it means the country is small. Greater than 10 million, it means the country is large. Now, also, let me quickly chip this in. A particular if function only accepts two criteria. True criteria, or let me say, it only returns two values, one for false and one for true. But let me just name it two criteria, one for false, one for true. Now, if you look at this, how many do we have? We have two criteria. The first one is less than or equal to 10 million, and the second one is greater than 10 million. Now, if you will agree with me, if let's say we are good. Although this example I'm about to give is quite funny, due to the situation of the world. Normally, gender. I hope nobody is going to be offended by this. Normally, gender, we have both male and female, right? If you are not a male, then automatically you are a female. Now, that's the example I want to use. It's the same thing with true or false. If a particular logical test is not true, that means it's false. So if you are not a male, then you are definitely a female. Like I said, it's funny. These days, some people are not the two. They have different names for that. But that's by that. But I'm still going to use my example anyway. So let's say if you are not a male, then you're automatically a female. You are not the two. And it's not, well, as I said, this example is going to be funny. Normally, no, it's not possible to be the two. Well, we have a hermaphrodite, but let's not go into that. That only happens in animals anyway. So let's just say, is that you are either a male or a female. For the sake of this class, I know we have a lot of definitions, but for the sake of this class, we only have two genders, that is male and female. So it's either you are male or female. It cannot be both. It cannot be neither of the two. You have to belong to one place. The same thing happens to a particular logical test. It's either it is true or it is false. It must belong to one of the two. So now the first criteria is if the population is less than or equal to 10 million. You know the meaning of less than or equal to? 10 million inclusive, then all other values less than it. That means the country is what? Small. It should return small. Now, if the total population is not less than or equal to 10 million, it means what? It means it is greater than 10 million. That's what I was trying to explain. If this person is not male, then definitely the person is female. That's for a particular function. That's the meaning of true or false. So which means if it is not less than 10 million, that is false, then definitely it's going to be greater than 10 million. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Now let's apply it. Now that's the thing. Now another thing is data analytics is a different thing for you to understand something. It's a different thing for you to know how to apply a particular function towards it. Now the first thing you have to do is, before you can even apply any function, you need to understand what you're doing first. So let me ask us, do we understand what I want to do before I apply the if function? Because if you don't understand what I want to do, there's no way you might understand the if function. Do you understand what I'm trying to achieve? I'm trying to separate the countries based on either they are small or large. Okay, I think I have a thumbs up. That means yes. All right, let me go ahead then. So now, how can I separate these countries based on small and large using their total population. I'll come to this cell. Don't forget any formula in Excel, you need to start with an equal sign. I will type my if function. Don't forget, always select the one Excel gives you. I will select it. Now, Excel has actually made everything so easy. Can we see this? Can we see this logical test? Value if true and value if false. Please, if you can see, just quickly drop a yes. I just need one person. If you can see it, please quickly drop a yes. The logical test, value if true, value if false. Okay. Can we see it? All right, I think yes. I think we can see it. All right, good. All right, you see that we have logical tests, value if true and value if false. Don't forget, the first thing I said, there are 3 parameters: your logical test, your value if it's true, your value if it's false. Now, don't forget, now you might ask me that, we have less than or equal to 10 million now, and we have greater than 10 million. So which of them are we picking as a logical test? Now, you can pick any of them. Now, you cannot use the 2. It's only one you will pick. In the case whereby you have 2 criteria, you pick one to be the logical test, which is going to represent your value if it's true. The second one will automatically represent as false. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So let's assume you have 3 criteria. That means you are going to use 2 logical tests. If you have 10 criteria, that means you are going to use 9 logical tests. So this time around, you have 2 criteria. So you can decide to use either greater than, or we apply the 2. Let me start with, but ideally, I like using the smallest first. I like using the smallest. Like this now, the smallest is less than or equal to 10 million. That's what I like doing with this. I like using the smallest. So I will say, if total population, you will select E2. That is the first, I'm applying for this cell. This cell deals with this data for Nigeria. So I will select the first one, the total population for Nigeria is less than or equal to. Now I can type out the 10 million. If this population is less than or equal to 10 million, now this is the logical test, which is what I have here. Don't forget. Now the next thing is what? Put a comma. You discover that immediately I put it, when you are done with logical test, the next thing the value is true, you have to put a comma that, okay, I'm done. You see that value if true is now being bolded. That is, okay, if this thing, if the total population for Nigeria is less than 10 million, what should it return for me? Now, anytime you want to type a text, I will say that, okay, if it's less than or equal to 10 million, it should say that the country is small. That is value if it's true. That is, the value if this logical test is true should be small. Now I'm done. I put another comma. You see it has moved to value if it's false. Okay, what if this logical test is now not less than or equal to 10 million? Don't forget, like I said earlier, it has to belong somewhere. Is that you're a female or you're a male? So if it's not less than or equal to 10 million, that means it's greater than 10 million now. Don't forget, Abby, that's the second logical test we have. That means it's greater than 10 million. And what did I say you should give for 10 million? That means it is large. So you are saying, okay, if it's not less than or equal to 10 million, that means it's greater than 10 million, which means what? Large. Now I'm done. You see that after value false is what? A closing bracket. So you just close the bracket. And you put enter. Now don't forget our cell referencing. You just drag it down to apply it to the rest automatically. Now, if you look at all the countries that are small, you see that all of them are less than or equal to 10 million. Those that are large, they are definitely greater than 10 million. Please, do we understand what I just explained? This part is very essential. Please, you can't run away from if function as a data analyst. You cannot run away from it. Okay, I can see thumbs up. Is there anybody that does not understand? Please, if you don't understand, kindly drop a no. Don't worry, I will definitely rewrite the function. Okay, all right. That means we all understood. Thank you. That's very important. Thank you so much. So rewriting the function, I will do that. But this time around, don't forget, I said you can pick any of the logical tests. Now let me pick the second one this time around. If, don't worry, you start with your if function. If this total population, this time around, I'm doing what? Is greater than 10 million. I'm using, don't forget, I said when you have two criteria, you pick one as your logical test. Automatically, the other one will be the value if it's false. So if it's greater than 10 million, what's that? Of course, the value if it's true is what? Large. The value is false is what? That means if it's not greater than 10 million, that means it's less than or equal to 10 million, which is what? Small. It will still give you the same answer. But like I said, I like starting from the smallest because of cases whereby you have a lot of criteria. Like if you look at this country size 2 now, you have 3 criteria. Although if you know your way around it, you can also still start from the largest. But I like starting from the smallest to make stuff simpler and easier. So for the person that said I should rewrite the function, do you get it now? And if it's the first one I wrote you want, let me just write it here. This is what I did. If, don't forget a logical test, I said you pick one of them. Total population is less than or equal to. Now this 10 million, you can also, oh no, don't let me go there yet. That was another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Value if it's false, that's small. Don't forget, any text you want to type in any formula, it must always be in double quotation. And the value if it's false is what? That's large. So now, okay, let me just show my formula. If you look at my formula bar, you see my formula there. Let me increase this. And if I double click on this, this is my formula for this. So do we all understand? Okay, Abe Ademola, you raised your hand. Abe Ademola, you raised your hand. Is it a mistake or you want to say something? Oh, I guess it's a mistake then. Oh, okay. Then you can drop your hand then. Just click on it again. You should be able to drop your hand. All right. So Oluwashayo Faduba. Do you get it now? Because you said I should write the function again. Are we good now? Are you clear now? Okay, good. So that's been said. Now, how do we now deal with? Don't forget, I said something. A particular if function only do what? It only accepts 2 criteria. One if it's false and one if it's true. Now, what do you now do in cases whereby you have more than 2 criteria? Like the one we just did now, just 2 criteria, small and large. Now for country size 2. Now for country size 2, we have what? 3 criteria. And one if function accepts just 2 criteria. What do we now do? Now, if one if function accepts 2 criteria, how many if function do you think I'm going to use for these 3 criteria? Let me see if someone can guess this right. How many if function do you think I can use? How many if function do you think I can use for 3 criteria? Can anybody guess? Okay, someone said 3. Okay, someone said 2. Okay, someone said 3, someone said 2. Olale Bukumi, can you explain why you said 2? You can unmute yourself, please. Let me see. Can you explain why you said 2?
Yes, yes. I think the first if we work for less than 1 million underdeveloped, less or equals to 1 million underdeveloped, and less or equals to 15 million developing. Then the second if will be for greater than 15 million developed.
Okay, you tried. All right. It got the answer that it is 2, but the explanation, it didn't really get it. I think you said we use 2 functions. We use one if function for developed and developing, and the other one for developed, right? I think that's what you said. Yeah, you actually got. We're going to use 2 functions. Now, there's a formula I do give my students. Now, when you have any criteria you have, let's say criteria is n. So if function to use is always equals to okay, it's always equals to n minus 1. It's not accepted because equal sign is used for formulas. Let me type it out. Equals n minus 1, where n, Mr. Man, where n is number of criteria. All right, so there's this formula I do give. Just count the total number of criteria you have and minus it by 1. That's the total number of if function you're going to apply. Now, I don't know the kind of version, I don't know the version of Excel software you're using. Yeah, but the updated ones, I think, then now we have a function named ifs. It can accept as many criteria at once. Yes, ifs, but it's not available on this version, and you probably don't have it too. So that's why I'm trying to apply multiple if function, but there's a function named ifs, it can accept so many criteria at once. So now this is the logic. You just count the total number of criteria you have, minus it by 1. That's the total number of if function you're going to be using. So now that you have 3, you're going to apply 2 if functions. Now that you have 2, you're applying what? 2 minus 1, 1. That's 1 if function. So that's been said. So how do you now apply it? It's like this. If function is still the same total population. Don't forget I mentioned something earlier. I said is that you start from the lowest and increase it like that, or you start from the highest. But I like starting from the lowest. You can't just start from jump and say you want to start from less than 50. No. It's going to disrupt a lot of things. So it's either start from the lowest or the highest. So I will say if total population is less than or equal to 1 million, what should you return? Underdeveloped. This is a logical test. Don't also forget I said when you have three different criteria, or let me say three different logical tests. That is 1, 2, 3. That is 1, 2, 3. I said something. I said that means what? You're going to make use of two. You make use of two logical tests. This is the first one. Now, if this is true, if the total population is actually less than or equal to 1 million, it should return what? Underdeveloped. What's the time? Okay. It should return underdeveloped. Now, this now it gets interesting. Now, a particular if function accepts what? Just two criteria. Value if it's true and value if it's false. I've entered one. That's value if it's true. Now it's remaining value if it's false. But I still have two different criteria left. What do I now do? Don't forget a particular if function what? Accepts two criteria, which means my value if it's false is saying if it's not less than 1 million, then it's either less than or equal to 50 million or greater than 1 million, which means at this point, I introduce another if function that is going to accept these two. Now, don't forget this if function comes with its own logical test. Now, this if function is representing the value if it's false for this particular first if function. Don't forget I said you are going to use two logical tests. So which one are you now going to use? The next one. That is, if this one is less than or equal to 50 million this time around. Of course, if it's not 1 million, is it that 50 million? Is that less than or equal to 50 million or greater than 50 million? So if I'm choosing this one as my logical test, the value if it's now true is what? Developing. Now the value is false is what? That's quite easy. You know it's already what? Okay, I made a mistake. Oh, I'm not done with the formula. I wanted to edit it. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, don't understand me. So the value if it's false is now what? Developed. Now, I'm done with the formula. But it's very important that the number of open brackets should complement the number of closed brackets. Now, how many brackets do I have opened? 1, 2, which means I will close it with 2 brackets. A present time. Now, if you drag it down, you will see that those that are underdeveloped, they are less than or equal to 10 million. Those that are developed, they are greater than or equal to 50 million. Now, before I ask if anybody have any question, let me apply the other way around. Let me apply the other way around. Let me start from 50 million so we can just understand it. Let's say I want to start from 50 million. I will say that if this is what is greater than what is greater than I'll say if this is what is greater than, if this is greater than 50 million, if this is, oh, sorry, if this is greater than, now it might be a little bit tricky if you are starting from the highest value. That's why I don't like using it. Now, if it's greater than 50 million, what should they return? Developed. Now, value if it's false, I still have two different criteria, so I bring in another if function. Now, this time around, the next logical test will be what? If it's greater than if this one is greater than 50 million, then this one will be what? If it's greater than or equals to, if it's greater than or equals to Let me try and view this. If it's greater than or equals to 1 million. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I hope you are getting it. Don't forget, I'm using this. I know you might be like, I can't say less than 50 million, right? I already said if it's greater than 50 million, it should be developed. So the next one is, if it's greater than, now, another thing I didn't explain is, there's a way Excel takes this thing. Now, for this second one, I'm saying, if it's greater than or equals to 10 million, 1 million rather, Excel is taking it to be, okay, it is greater than or equals to 10 million, but less than 50 million. That's how, in fact, I'm not meant to put equals to, because the one that is equals to is underdeveloped. So I will say if it's greater than 1 million is what? Developing. I know it can be a little bit tricky. That's why it's simpler and easier to just pick the lowest and be done with it. Now, if it's not this, it should say what? Underdeveloped. Those brackets you apply. Now, if you apply, okay, let me erase this. So if you apply this, you will see that I have the same answers, right? But before you can start with greater than, make sure you know what you're doing. So now, do we have any question? Do we understand? Yes for yes, I understand. No for no, I don't understand. I am going to watch the video. I'm just kidding. So do you understand? Please let me know if you understand. Okay. Okay. Oh, thank you so much. Which means everybody understood. All right. Our time is fast spent. So I have assignment for us. The first assignment is, please, I don't know, it's possible some of us are not practicalizing as I'm doing it. Please do well to do that. Everything I've done now, please go back to it. Make sure you check everything. Make sure you practicalize everything all over again. Check the video that's going to be sent to us and everything. That's the first assignment. Now, the second assignment is, now navigate to the end, navigate to assignment 1. Everybody now. Oh, okay. We have class tomorrow too. Yes, but then, should I wait till tomorrow before I give us this assignment? No, let me give us this assignment. This one is simple. Navigate to assignment 1. Everybody, navigate to assignment 1. You see questions 1 to 8. Make sure you solve all the questions. Or let me say attempt all the questions. We've done everything. Everything that you have here, we did everything today in class. Total score, average, minimum, maximum. This number 8. Who knows the function we are using for this number 8? Just drop it in the chat box. What function are we using for number 8? Let me see if I go with it. What function are we using for number 8? Now, don't forget, I said something earlier. The first thing is make sure you order. Adebayo, do you want to say something? Okay. Make sure you understand the question first. Read and digest it. Make sure you understand. That's the first thing. When you understand the question, then you start being like, okay, what function am I using? That's the first thing. So number 8. Who can guess the function we are using for number 8? If function. Good. We are using if function for number 8. Good. We are using if function. Thank you so much. So tomorrow, let's all do our assignments, please. It's very essential. Make sure you do your assignments. It will help you to read more on it. So 1 to 8. And then to avoid, just do the answers in front of them. Except for number 8, you can't do the answer in front of it for number 8. For question 1, for instance, just do the answer in front of it like this. This one, do the answer in front of it like this to make stuff easier for ourselves. All right, so that's by that. So before I round up the class, does anybody have any question whatsoever based on what we've discussed today? Is there a part that you got confused or something? Do you have any question whatsoever? Do you have any question whatsoever? All right, I'll take that as a no question. That means we all understood everything. That is nice. Let's keep it up. Thank you so much. So we meet tomorrow by 7 p.m. Try as much as possible not to be late and make sure you do my assignment. So do have a nice night, or depending on where you are, maybe you're just starting your day where you are, anyone it is. So, all right, we meet tomorrow. Thank you so much. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Good night.